Robot vacuums have gotten incredibly good the past couple of years. However, robot lawnmowers have had one problem that they just couldn't seem to get rid of until now. The perimeter around your house always required a wire and it was clunky and just, it took more time setting up than it actually saved you throughout the summer. This is the brand new Mova Lidax Pro 800, and it promises to get rid of the wire around the perimeter of your yard completely. Mova sent this to me to try and test out, and we'll unbox it. We'll get it in the yard. We'll see how it goes throughout the season, and we'll just dive into things. Mova has kindly sent this over for review, and in today's video, we'll open up the box, see what's in there, see what we get, and in the next couple of weeks, we'll get it into the yard, see how it does outside in the elements. We have a dog, we have a lot of hazards and different levels of the lawn throughout the property. So very interested to see how that goes. But yeah, let's open up the box, let's dive in, and let's see what we get. All right, it was a box within a box situation. So that was fun. Welcome back to the Product Scope, where we review products to see if they are worth your time, money, and effort. Full disclosure, Mova did send this over to us free of charge to review. However, they are not seeing my review before I post it and have no input on the final review. Let's get this thing open. It's pretty big. It's pretty heavy too. But I'm thinking that's just all of the packaging and stuff. So I'll be curious to see how easy it is to move around once we get it out of the box. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the camera real quick so we can get a top-down view, and then we'll get it open. All right, so as we are opening the box here, I just wanted to go over a couple of things that this robot lawnmower does that others might not do, or they might do it, but maybe it does it a little bit better. So as we discussed previously, this is a wire-free setup, so you don't have to go around your yard, putting up an electric dog fence, wire sort of thing. So that's super convenient. It uses 360 LiDAR and AI vision to kind of map out your property. It is this specific model, the Pro 800, is meant to do up to 0.2 acres. So we'll test that out. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know how much 0.2 acres is. I think my property definitely is within the 0.2 acres, so we'll see how that goes. I do want to eventually bring this over to my parents' house that has, a little bit more to their property as they're aging and, are starting to slow down a little, not be able to get things done as easier. So we do have a quick start guide here. Let's see if we can get that in frame here. So nice quick start guide that we will go through in a second here. So it just tells us what's in the box, how to set it up for charging and installing the charge station, and connecting the robot to internet, of course, and then downloading the app and all that fun stuff. Let's see if I can gracefully unbox this and get it out of the box. So we just have another QR code to connect for members, forum, and all that fun stuff. So we'll put that to the side here. We have a rather large instruction manual, but obviously there's multiple languages in here, so doesn't seem to be too terrible. I'm sure once we download the app as well, all of that information will be in the app. What do we have here? This is a brush of some sort, I think maybe to clean the robot of any excess grass clippings. I don't know. I'm making a complete guess on what this is. We'll probably find out eventually. what to do with that. And then looks like we have some screws or bolts. What are these? Just screws, it looks like. And then I think these are the blades in here. Yeah, so these are the blades right here. So we'll get these and we'll put them to the side because we'll probably have to install those ourselves. Let's see, what else can I take out? This is, I have no idea what this is. We'll find out, but it looks like little corkscrew things, you know, we'll see. This is a real unrehearsed review, so bear with me here. Let's see, please remove this. Very good, we'll throw that down. Look at that. Look at that beauty. How much room do we have left on the table here? I'll move this a little forward so we can see it, but that looks really nice. Let's go ahead. Can I take this out? I think I can. But yeah, there we go. Oh, whoops. Okay. Well, here's the power cable and a screwdriver that we just launched and definitely lost. So we'll have to fish that out in a second. But it's a pretty bulky, charging cable, but it feels pretty heavy duty. So that's pretty good quality right there to start. Let's see what this is. It looks like I don't know what this is. This is the charging station. So it probably hooks up right here, and that's where it goes and charges, kind of like the robot vacuums, which I have a full disclosure. I have a Mova V50 Ultra robot vacuum. I purchased that myself. It's been phenomenal. I'll do a review of that in another video, but yeah, it's been very good. So this, I believe, how does this? I think it goes like this maybe, and then maybe this looks like that goes right here, yeah, and then maybe that's how it cleans the robot, but we'll see. I'm gonna put that to the side for now, and then let's see if we can get this thing out of the box. I don't think there's no graceful way of doing this. It is a little bit of a big boy. So yeah, let's pause the video there for a second, and we'll pick back up when I've got this thing back on the table. All right, so we have gotten the robot out of the box. It actually wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Like I said, the packaging was kind of just very heavy because, it is a pretty good machine. You don't want to damage it in transit. So first impressions here, it obviously looks good. I really like how they have this handle in the back here so you can grab it and, just stick your hand under here. What else? I don't know. There's control. Oh, there are controls in here. Okay. That's pretty fascinating. I guess these are manual controls if, for whatever reason you need to out in the yard, you don't have your phone sort of thing, on and off. Maybe this is like a master on, and then that's like another on. We'll look into that. We need to read the instruction manual, and I'm sure the app will help us with all of that. Let's take a look at the front here. Maybe I can move this around without messing anything up. How are we looking in frame here? So the LiDAR cover, I think this probably, yeah, this comes off. Here's the LiDAR, so it can 3D, map everything out in your yard. And then if we look here, let's see, right on the front there, you have a camera as well. So it's doing both. I think, the camera is obviously for detection of obstacles and things that it probably shouldn't run over. Like I mentioned, we do have a dog, so I'll be curious to see if it avoids its droppings in the backyard or it just runs them over and smears them. I will say the robot vacuum that we do have, luckily we've never had this issue, but I do know that it will avoid those obstacles. So I would assume this one does too. There's really nothing on the back except for the handle. I do like the wheels. I'm not sure. I think these wheels are specifically just like made for, gripping the terrain, but it almost looks like it kind of aerates the lawn at the same time, which is absolutely what you need for a lawn, to get oxygen in there, to grow the grass and all of that good stuff. Let's see, what else? I'm not exactly sure what these metal things are on the front here. I have a feeling this is the charging contactors. So when it goes into the dock, this is where it charges. Let's go ahead and let's get this flipped over so we can see what the undercarriage looks like. All right, so here is the mower. This is the undercarriage. Obviously we have some wheels. I don't think these are motorized. I'll have to look. I think it, pivots and turns using the back wheels, sort of like a forklift situation. I am curious. There are 3 blades here. I don't want to touch them too much because they look extremely sharp. But this looks like it, raises and goes down, so you can change the, height of how much it is cutting your grass. So you don't, cut your grass too low or too high, sort of situation. So that's really neat. I do want to look into, I know these seem like a little loose on here. Maybe I have to tighten those down or something like that. But I think they're supposed to spin freely like that so it can get everything. The battery compartment is here. You won't be taking the battery out. It's not like, a traditional electric lawnmower where you kind of swap out the battery situation. This is just autonomous. You kind of like set and forget sort of thing, just like the robot vacuum. But it's nice. I will say it is nice that you can access it if you need to replace the battery down the line. As we know, with any sort of battery, car, battery in your phone, it gives out over time. So I really like that you can access that down the road. That is it for the undercarriage. I do want to take a look at all of the other things that we took out of the box and see what they do. I want to look at the charging dock, maybe get that put together, and see what that looks like before we wrap up here. But let me get this off to the side and get that going. Okay, so here we have the base of the docking station. There are holes around the base of it, and we finally understand what these kind of pillars or anchors are going to be used for. When you put it out on your lawn, you want to put them in each hole so it kind of, sits down to the ground, doesn't fly away, doesn't, do any of that crazy stuff. I don't see this flying away, to be honest. It's fairly heavy, which is pretty good. It's made out of plastic, but it's not like flimsy in any way. It's pretty thick, which is good because, as we know, when things are out in the elements, they wear down way quicker, especially, if you're like on a coast or like in a coastal town, sea and saltwater air and all that stuff will degrade it faster. So this is really nice. That's really good. Anchors, as we know, that's what those do. All right, so now that we have the base down here, I wanted to add this to it, obviously. I thought that it was going to be a little situation where the robot comes in and like docks like this. No, it's actually an overhead station, which is super fascinating. So I guess what you do, it seems pretty straightforward. You push it down, you gotta lock the hinges first, it seems. And maybe I shouldn't be doing this on a table because it's supposed to have a little bit of give. So I might put it on the floor really quickly and then lock that in. Give me 1 second. Let's do that, and then we'll get going. Okay, definitely put it on the floor so you kind of have, maybe like on a rug, so you have a little bit more give. Definitely don't do it on a table because you do have to add a little bit of force. You want to lock in the front of this first here and then lock in the back. So it's kind of like a tilt forward and then tilt back to lock it in. The next thing that we need to install is this little guy. Which way do we install it? I would say probably something like this. Oh, that's it. Simple. Okay, so what this does, I thought it was going to clean off, the bottom. Nope. It cleans off the top. It cleans off the LiDAR sensor. So you always want to keep that clean, obviously, so it can continue to map everything, all that fun stuff. This is the dock. Obviously, we need to get it in the ground and do all that fun stuff, but this is the dock. Again, the other thing we have is the charging cable here, which is pretty bulky. It does give you quite a bit of wire. So if this isn't like that near a plug, you have a little bit of wire to play with. So that's really nice. And you can also kind of anchor this brick maybe on the side of your house or whatever's convenient for you. Let's see, I think that's it. We have extra blades. We have these screws. I think those are obviously for the bottom, as we saw as well. And we have 9 of those each. So that's awesome. The only thing that we have not gone over or looked at is the screwdriver that we lost earlier. And that's to add and remove those blades at the bottom of the lawnmower. So that is the unboxing. We will get this into the yard within the next day or so. It's currently a little rainy out there, so we can't fully get out there. But we will get out there in the next day or so. We'll get this going. We'll go through the setup of the app, what that looks like, and we'll see how it goes. Really excited to get this out there. Definitely like, comment, subscribe. Let me know down below if you would use this, what you think about the quality of all of it. And yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and we will catch you in the next one when we get this running. Thanks. Bye.